Hi y'all, this is Jess Clary with Jess Clary Auto Repair in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. We've got a 2004 Saab 9.3 here. The setup is got back probe the injector control wires at the PCM. I've got a current clamp down here around all four power supplies for the injectors. I've got attenuators on channels A, B, and C for those control wires, and my CC65 current clamp for channel D. So first thing I wanted to do was check the current ramping on this and make sure we didn't have any injectors drawing too much, because we're likely going to wind up replacing the chip, the low side driver on the board of this PCM. As you can see, we've got a little under 2 amp draw on all of these injectors evenly, so we don't seem to have a shorted injector. Right now it's not misfiring. There are no codes in it at present. The codes had been cleared when I received the vehicle, and it appears right now to be functioning properly. Okay guys, so I had this thing on the lab scope for quite some time, and I was watching the injector circuits as you saw there, and I finally got some codes to set. I let it run for quite some time, and I actually got a couple of throttle position sensor codes to set. Then I let it run some more, and then I got the injector circuit fault codes to set. Now I didn't see any injector drivers shorted out on the scope when I was watching it. It is possible that happened at a time it was running that I wasn't looking at the scope, but I didn't see any dropouts. I didn't notice any misfiring with it sitting there running, large clouds of black smoke like you typically see with an injector driver failure on these ECUs. So I got in, and it's setting some crazy codes. The ECU's looking really bad. We're gonna get in here. I'm in the OE side of this scanner here, and we'll look at some live data. I spoke to the customer again, and the main complaint was that it was running a little bit rough, but mostly speed limited. So that tends to make me focus on those throttle position sensor codes. So we're going to look at some live data and see if we can pull up the PIDs for our throttle position sensors here. These are the throttle position sensors on the actually we'll pull up this ignition plus 15 too and see what it's showing. That's the switched ignition voltage. Let's pull up. These are the throttle position sensors on the throttle body, not the pedal position sensors. They look good and smooth. I've looked at this data and put them on the scope already. They look perfect. So let's go ahead and pull these up. Okay, so our ignition plus 15 on. I'm going to go ahead and cycle this key off. It switched to off. Turn it back to on. It switches to on. Let's graph these. I'm going to work this throttle a bit. We'll watch these two graph throttle position sensors here. You see they go opposite one another. One goes high when the other one goes low, it looks like. Some systems operate that way. That's okay. But I've got a lot of crazy fault setting with this ECU. It's looking like a probable microprocessor problem. So my customer has sourced actually a couple of inexpensive used ECUs here at local salvage yards, and is bringing them to me. I'm going to see if we can communicate with this ECU to pull to pull all of the programming out of it, and we'll just clone this used ECU and put it in, see if we can get him back on the road. So bear with me. I'll be right back as soon as I get this ECU hooked up. Alright guys, let's get a read on this ECU here while it still communicates. And got it hooked up to the OBD port. We're going to open our Trionic CAN flash software. Got it set to Trionic 8 main. Adapter type. We are using obdlink SX. Okay guys, took about 6 minutes here. We got confirmation, operation done. This is just not going to film good. Operation done, connection terminated, and our drop down menu here lit back up. So now we're going to go into, drop this down. We're going to do Trionic 8 MCP. You know, actually I think what we're going to do, since these are the same part number ECUs, we're just going to try to flash these mains, just the EEPROM version, the portion of these ECUs, and see what we get. See if these things fire up. I can always go back in there and reflash the MCU portion of it. But I think as long as we're sticking with the same part number on the ECU tags, we're going to be fine. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this new ECU hooked up. I'm going to unhook the old one physically out there on the engine. Hook up the used donor, and we're gonna flash it. We'll attempt to start it, and we'll flash it, and we'll attempt to start it again and see what we get. I'll be right back. Okay guys, I got that ECU swapped in there and bolted in, and make sure to bolt the ground on, plug both connections up. I've turned the key on. Our check engine light is illuminated with the donor used ECU. Let's go ahead and try to give it a quick start here. It will not even click or crank. Okay. Okay, so let's get back in to our CAN flasher. Okay. We're set up. Trionic 8 main. Let's hit flash ECU. Actually, let's read our DTCs if it will first. Opening connection. Open called in. Connected. Okay. Let's hit flash ECU. Attach a charger. Turn key on to wake up the ECU. I did. Okay. We want to flash with this 2004 original main bin. Okay, open called in, connected, security access granted, uploading bootloader. Got a status bar here. Again, we're still hooked up to the power source here, to our power supply, clean power supply on the battery. We don't want to do anything unless we have clean power supply. Can't have this go dead while we're doing this. Now the good part about this is we don't have the original ECU in here. We're working on a used salvage yard unit, so not a terrible lot of risk here. Even if things go wrong, all you're risking is a salvage yard ECU. New ECUs, by the way, or rebuilt, were not available to me. I even called one of the local ECU remanufacturers here that's fairly close to me, and they can't do anything with this T8. I think that I think there's one company in Europe. I don't know, or I don't know. I think there's one company, but it's not in the U.S. that's rebuilding these T8 ECUs. We're still making progress. When I went out there to hook this up, out of my 2 ECUs, actually only one of them that was supplied by the customer has the same part number. The other one has a different part number on it. And he purchased it from a full service salvage yard, so I don't imagine he got to see what year or what vehicle it came out of. But I suspect, this is an 04, and I suspect it probably came out of an 07 through 11, as it has a different part number on it. So if we get this to work, I may just plug that ECM in and flash it as well, and see if it will work, or if I have to actually select the read the MCU from the original one. The other option that some people use is if you have the same part number ECU, a lot of people, you can go in and I believe rewrite the VIN and the seed key information and with a tech2, and some people do reprogram these over I think over SPS with a j2534. But I like this. It's a low cost is cloning, so there's no relearns. Everything's just the way it was, and it's a really nice solution to clone this and then just plug and play. Okay, guys, it's 4:49. So it took like 27 minutes for this to program. Popped up and said flash upload completed and verified, requesting bootloader exit, session ended, total duration 26 minutes 28 seconds, connection terminated. So looks like everything is good. So let's try to start this car. Now there's some question as to the condition of this ECU. Again, this is the ECU has the exact same part number as the original ECU in this car. The customer purchased this at a self-serve salvage yard, and he was able to see the vehicle. He said that it looked like it had new coil packs on it. So there's a good possibility they were trying to diagnose a misfire, and that may have been why the car was in the salvage yard. But it looks like we were able to write to it successfully. Let's see if our mobilizer's now working and we're able to crank this vehicle and see if it'll start. Also check it and see if it has any misfires. It is possible this ECU may have a bad low side driver in it, but let's just see what we've got here. I'm going to go ahead and key off. I've got the clutch depressed. Okay, so we have an immobilizer failure still. Let's see if we can clear those codes with a scanner. It may just be that there's still a code in this ECU that hasn't been cleared. So I'm gonna hook up my Think Tool Pros. Got it down there connecting. Let's get it turned on. See if it still has a stored immobilizer code in here. Let's read our codes, see if we can communicate with this ECU and clear all the codes out of it, and then we'll key off back on and see if it'll start. If not, we may have to go in there and actually do the MCU instead of just the main. So let's get in here. First, let's see if it'll self-ID. It did. p0204 93 Sport engine. Read fault codes. T8 or CIM not added. Okay. Let's go back and see if it'll clear that. Yes. Okay. Okay, it doesn't look like it cleared. Oh no, it did. No trouble codes. Now let's key off and see if this will start. Okay, key on. We've got to check engine light. Still no crank. Yeah, T8 or CIM not added. Okay, so let's go back. Let's go back and read the MCU. I'll be right back. I'm going to reinstall the original ECU here. Then I'm going to hook back up to it. We're going to try to read the MCU, and then we're going to reflash this MCU and main. I'll be right back. Okay guys, I got the original ECU hooked back up. I'll look in these settings again real quick. Let's get, before we only reflash the T8 main, let's do the T8 MCP. And a read ECU. We're going to name this one 2004. Original MCP, and click save. Connected, acquiring flash content, starting session, clearing the CAN bus, request security access, got the seed key values, security access calculated, security access granted, uploading bootloader. Alright. Starting bootloader, starting secondary bootloader, downloading flash, downloading 262,400 bytes. Okay guys, I'm going to let this, oh, looks like it's, wow, that was quick. Operation done, connection terminated. Okay, so we're good. Now, I'm going to turn this off. We're going to put, again, our donor ECU back in place, hook it up to the harness, and we're going to try to flash the MCP and see what happens. I'll be right back. Okay guys, I've got the donor ECU back in the car. We're going to go ahead and go to flash ECU. We still have it set on the MCP. We're going to flash this ECU, attach a charger. Yes, it's on there. And I would add you want a programming power supply, not just a charger. Okay. The key is on. This is the MCP, original MCP. We're going to select that. It's doing its thing. Okay. Wow, going much faster. Uploading us, this is just uploading the bootloader. Okay, it says everything was identical on that side, guys. Firmware version, this is identical. So it's got to be something on our main here that didn't read properly or didn't flash properly. I wonder if I need to unlock these system partitions. Let me do a little bit more research here. I'll be right back. Okay, so after a little research, I think when we reflash this, we're going to do the main because the MCP was the same. But I think we need to use this unlock system partitions function in advanced features here in order to write. I don't know whether I should unlock the boot partition as well. I think I will. And auto update checksum, why not? So I've checked all these advanced features. We're going to hit save. We now have it set T8 main. We're going to key is on. It is on a battery power supply. We're going to hit flash ECU. It's telling us to attach a charger, turn the key on to wake up the ECU. I'll go ahead and key off and back on. Okay, we did that. Okay. We're doing our main, so we're going to use our original main bin file. It's doing its thing. Now this last one took quite a while, so we'll see if it goes any faster. Maybe it was having problems because of those locked partitions. So it's 522. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off. We'll see how long it takes for this one to complete, and then see if our immobilizer issue is fixed. New window came up. Do you really want to flash new VIN and key data? Absolutely we do. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to turn this off. This is what took about 26 or 27 minutes the last time. I'm going to stop rolling here, and I'll bring you back when we've got an update. Okay guys, well this was much faster with those partitions unlocked. Total duration 3 minutes 16 seconds. So let me key off, key on, and see if this vehicle will crank now. It cranks and it starts. Okay, fellas, I'm going to unhook my obdlink SX for just a minute. I'm going to go ahead and hook my scanner dongle back up, and let's see what codes, if any, we have in this car. Let's go back out. We're going to do... Excuse the shaky camera work here, guys. We're going to do an intelligent diagnostic. Let's see if our VIN number matches. I didn't even pay attention to the VIN on this car. Let's see what this one comes up. It's identifying it as a 93 Sport. Different VIN number, so that, let's see, that ends in 4208. Yes, my VIN ends in 4208. Okay, let's get our diagnosis here. Well, this is promising. It is an 04 93 Sport. We're going in the engine control module. We want diagnostic trouble codes, read fault code, random multi-cylinder misfire detected. Okay, we heard that when it started up. Don't know what that was about, but there's no adaptives in this computer probably. I don't know, I guess it should be. I don't know. Let's clear our memory. Yes. We've got to do key off, engine on, ignition on, I mean. Okay. Memory failed. It says. Let's go in there. I've seen sometimes it says that it failed, but they're not in there. Yep, no trouble codes. Okay, so that's a good sign. Let's go ahead and start this car back. Okay. That's a good thing. Let's drive this car and see if this fixes his drivability concern. Alright guys, I'll be right back.